Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Masterworks presentation. I'm Karina Jorgensen-Fullam, and to begin this morning, I would like to ask everyone to please close your eyes and listen to 3 short audio clips. Okay, you may now open your eyes if you haven't already. The form of musical expression you just heard, one of the oldest in the world, is called throat singing and is present in the cultures of 3 locations that are completely isolated from one another: Northern Canada, rural Russia, and Southern Africa. But how is it possible that 3 cultures could have developed such a similar style of music while being completely separated? One explanation is that each of these 3 groups of people were influenced by their surrounding landscape. It may be difficult to see how such completely different geographical locations could produce such a similar sound as the one you just heard. However, take a look at these pictures. Each of these places is barren and desolate in its own way, as well as the fact that each one is subject to extreme weather, rural Russia and northern Canada having a very cold climate, and southern Africa having a very hot one. I believe that geography has a very strong influence on music. This can range from being at an emotional level to even at a scientific one. My Masterworks advisor, Buff Allen, explained to me that humans are not the ones who invented the laws of music. They are simply there, and we are the ones who have the privileges of molding and shaping these laws. The patterns of waves we see in nature, such as the ripple of wind across the ocean, take the same form as the wave patterns that are produced when we pluck the string of a guitar. This is the same everywhere in the world, just as the laws of music are the same everywhere around the world. However, each culture is able to create the bylaws of music and decides the different overtones that are to be used in their scales and in their songs. And I believe that the geography of each society ends up shaping their music in different ways. Although, as you saw in the example of throat singing, sometimes the geography is similar and the music ends up being similar as well. Today, often there are other influences on the music of a culture, such as globalization, which transports music from culture to culture and mixes and blends different sounds. Because of this, it can often be difficult to tell if geography is really playing a part in music development at all. For this reason, I would like to backtrack to the beginnings of music when globalization was not yet a factor and music was raw and pure, and able to be truly influenced by geography. In our society, we often forget to give back and to connect ourselves to nature, but in ancient societies, this was not the case. People were extremely connected to their environment. It provided them with everything: food, water, shelter, even warmth. Everything superficial we know in our world was stripped away and only the basics remained. Humans were concerned mainly with survival. That did not mean, however, that they were animals. Humanity still had its passion for creation and discovery. And from this came music. We do not know the exact reason for music's creation, although I suspect that geography played a part. There are many theories on music's origin, and today I'm going to share with you a few that I believe to be the most interesting. There are some scientists as well as musicians who believe that music was developed as a way to learn and to educate, especially about the surrounding landscape and the challenges it posed. Others argue that music, particularly singing, was invented so that humans could orient themselves in cave systems by a process similar to echolocation and sonar, similar to that of bats. Still, others believe that music was originally created to help communicate with one another, which led to the development of monogamous relationships. This is supported by the fact that almost all singing primates, as well as songbirds, mate monogamously. Some scientists even believe that music was developed as a form of baby talk that mothers used to comfort their defenseless infants when mothers were occupied with other tasks and couldn't hold their babies. Primate babies are able to cling onto their mother's necks for reassurance if the mother is busy and cannot comfort it, whereas human babies are helpless and need to be carried around by their mother. By singing to their child, mothers would be giving a similar feeling of reassurance to that of a baby primate clinging onto its mother's neck. Others counter this theory and say that music was surely made by ancient humans for religious or spiritual purposes while they communicated with gods and other beings of a higher power, as music has a magical or divine quality to it that simple speech does not. The last theory I am about to share with you is that music was developed simply to connect us with other members of the community, to establish friendships and build relationships. This is something that we see even today, and it's something that we are going to see right now. We as a group are going to try to create the sound of rain, and hopefully it's going to help us feel connected to the other people in this room as we create something together. So I'm going to walk along the front here, and as I walk by you, I would like you to try to imitate exactly what I'm doing. When I reach the end, I'll turn around and come back this way, and this time when I walk by you, I'd like you to stop what you're doing. Okay. Hopefully when you did this, you were able to feel connected to the other people in this room as you tried to sync your movements and your minds to theirs. Ancient villages would often gather like this to share stories, read poems, and sing and dance. This would happen in times of sadness and in worry, such as if the village was experiencing a drought, as well as times of sadness, such as times of happiness and celebration when the rain would finally come. This is a theory that I believe to be the most accurate, as we can often feel this sense of connection and being a part of a group as a member of the audience at concerts, or when we come together to sing around a campfire. One more factor that is important to remember when we think about the first music is the resources that were available. The sound of the music would have been different depending on the instruments that humans were able to make. The oldest evidence of music we have is a set of bone flutes. However, we can only assume that there would have been percussion instruments made of rock as well as wooden instruments and the human voice. But you wouldn't have been able to make instruments out of wood if there were no trees where you lived. An Australian didgeridoo craftsman searches specifically for eucalyptus trees that have been hollowed out by termites in order to make their instrument. But here in Canada, we would not be able to replicate the low sound of the didgeridoo that you are hearing, as there are no suitable trees. Although globalization can often make it difficult to see how music is affected by geography, there are cases where music spreads and, as a consequence, a new style of music is created. Some cultures around the world have chosen to protect their traditional music, like the Australian Aboriginals, and so we are able to listen to music that has been around for hundreds of years. Other cultures welcome change and happily blend their traditional music with numerous different styles from around the world, which creates styles of music such as Afro-Cuban and Indo-Jazz. Hawaiian music is an example where you can truly see how the geography of a location changed the music produced there. The Hawaiian music that we know started as simple chants created by the first settlers of the Hawaiian Islands, the Polynesians. But new settlers brought new influences and new music to the island as well. It was Mexican cowboys called paniolo that brought the guitar to the Hawaiian Islands. The Hawaiians quickly adopted this instrument and began to incorporate it into their own music. However, they felt that this method of guitar playing and the guitar itself were too uptight for the loose, easygoing vibe that Hawaii is so famous for. The Hawaiians found that loosening the 6 strings of the guitar made the music more relaxed, and gave the guitar a more laid-back feeling. This new Hawaiian instrument would become known as the slap key guitar. As you can hear, Hawaiian music is still very relaxed, and it isn't hard to picture listening to or even making this music on the calm, warm sand, listening to the sound of the waves. Although globalization has a very large influence on music by transporting it from place to place, as you saw in Hawaiian music, there are some places that are simply so isolated and connected to nature that people can't help being inspired by their surroundings. One of my favorite things to learn about while doing my Masterworks, as well as what really got me interested in the topic in the first place, was Icelandic music. There are so many amazing artists that come from Iceland, and today I'm going to share with you how one of my favorite Icelandic artists, Björk, was influenced by her isolated island's geography. Björk is an artist who is very in touch with her surroundings and is very interested in the science side of music and nature as well. For her 2011 album, Biophilia, Björk created an interactive app which allows the user to explore connections between each of Björk's songs and the relationship they share between music and nature. Her other songs of various albums often reflect the same thing. Björk manages to seamlessly blend science and music by using a mix of electronic beats and soft strings and vocals. When creating her album Homogenic, Björk insisted to her producer that it should sound like rough volcanoes with moss growing over it. The song you are currently listening to, one of my favorite songs from this album, is called Hunter and is dormant and looming, but builds in intensity as the song progresses, and instruments are added, which causes the volume to rise. This certainly brings images of volcanoes to my mind. However, the addition of soft background vocals you can hear adds Björk's image of having moss growing throughout the song. Often when we think of geography, we think of all things green and earth-related. Mountains, lakes, rivers, and forests are all things that I imagine. As inspiring and even influencing as these things can be in our music, there is an aspect of geography that is often overlooked. Urban settings can be just as inspiring as nature, but they often inspire us in different ways. For many, living in a new city can mean a fresh start or a new beginning, but it can also mean different inspirations and different influences. All four of these were true for Chris Baio, most well known for his part as the bassist in the band Vampire Weekend. Despite his accomplishments as a member of the band, Baio feels that his biggest success lies in his solo album titled The Names. He attributes much of his success in creating the album to his moving to London, and believes that the color of the album would not have shone through in the same way had he stayed in New York, his previous home. This color certainly shines through in this song, titled Sister of Pearl, which makes use of fast string riffs, playful bass lines, and unique vocal melodies, as well as background vocals, which add a whole other layer of texture to this already complex piece. In fact, his whole album is bright and full of life, which adds on to Baio's image of light and color. Notice how different layers of instruments were added in one at a time, until there's an entire song made out of each of these individual layers, just how the sound of a city is made from the lives of hundreds of different people, honking their car horns, yelling, talking, even the sound of shoes on the pavement. When I chose my topic for my Masterworks, I wanted to see if it was possible to be influenced by your environment, because I feel really connected to the earth, and I often find that my emotions reflect where I am. I have a lot of different memories and emotions associated with the different places that I've lived, and I wanted to see if I could use that to prove a point that geography affects the music that you make. I also wanted to see what I was influenced by and if the geography of where I was would come out at all in my songwriting. So I decided to write and record 3 songs based on the geography of 3 places that I've lived: Surrey, Whistler, and Bowen Island. In doing this, I discovered that it is hard to write songs simply based on a location. However, if you step out of the realm of trying to be influenced by something and simply get in touch with yourself and how you're feeling, it becomes easier to write. I found that where you are definitely affects your emotions, which in turn comes through when you try to write music. To form a visual connection between music and geography, I created 2 videos. One to go with a song that I wrote about Whistler, which includes footage of me skiing, as well as footage of some of my friends, and one song about Bowen, which stars my classmate and close friend Lillian Bellic-Rillico. When I wrote about Whistler, I knew I wanted to show the contrast of the lifestyle and how that was influenced by the geography, because when you have these incredible environmental aspects, like mountains and snowstorms, and as well as the extreme sports that go with them, like mountain biking and skiing, as a consequence, it leads to a very unique way of living. I wanted to show the relaxed atmosphere of the village during the verses of my song, and I wanted the chorus to show the extreme part of Whistler that I'm familiar with. So, this is the song that I wrote to reflect the geography of Whistler, and the video to go with it. And the song is called Whirlwind. Give me 1 second here. Bowen has so many layers, both within nature and within the community. Everyone is connected with one another and with the many different aspects of the landscape. In my song, I knew I wanted to have many different layers of instruments, as well as different vocal layers, like harmonies. And I wanted none of it to be too synthesized. I wanted to keep it more acoustic, similar to how natural Bowen has been kept. So this is the song that I wrote, and the video that I made by drawing inspiration from the geography of Bowen, and it's called My Eyes Are Open.
Took it all for granted.
Surrey, I found it really easy to develop a concept that connected the images that I associated with Surrey to the music that I wanted to write. The first image that came to my mind when I thought of Surrey was a road, and my next image was a sidewalk. The images that follow suite were of a similar nature, aspects of a city, all gray in color. Even when I thought about the nature in Surrey, I realized that they were gray in my mind as well. Often the sky is gray with smoke and storm clouds, and the ocean is gray to reflect the sky. My song uses many of these images and talks about the lack of color that Surrey holds for me. So I'm going to perform for you the song that I wrote about Surrey, and it's called Gray Smiles. It should be. This old town full of cars and buses, the hustle and bustle of faces all around us. We're not throwing stones, we're spitting words into cars. We fall from skyscrapers with no arms to catch us. We're all chasing pavements, just filling up spaces while you're stealing our graces with your gray smile and your gray friends, gray style, looking through a gray lens. You wave at gray people with gray hands, gonna have great children who grow up with gray smiles. The boxes they keep us in are cramped and small. We're all pushing and shoving and writing things on the walls. There's a dark, smoky smell and kids with marked up wrists displaying them as show and tell. We're looking for embraces, instead we're replacements, leaving no traces except for gray smiles and gray friends, gray style, looking through a gray lens. You wave at gray people with gray hands, gonna have great children who'll grow up with crooked thoughts and shattered hearts, faded pictures on the walls. Broken glass will be all that's left when those pictures of us fall. So you may as well wear a gray smile and have gray friends, gray style, look through a gray lens, wave at gray people with gray hands, and have great children who grow up with gray smiles. In conclusion, I believe that where you are has a strong impact on you, whether you know it or not. I believe music is an incredibly important aspect to the lives of everyone around the world, in both the past and the present. Without it, life would be without color. Music plays a big part in providing us with the essential aspects of our character that make us human. love, appreciation of creative expression, and connecting us both with the community and with ourselves. But music wouldn't be the same without geography. No matter whether you are swallowed in the depths of a concrete city, soaring off of a cliff on top of a breathtaking mountain, or enveloped in the natural beauty of a tranquil forest surrounded by a sea of blue, geography's power shapes you. This natural force captures your existing emotions and influences them into something that you are able to draw inspiration from. If this force is strong enough, if the emotion it creates is deep enough, and if the inspiration is passionate enough, you will feel the urge to express yourself. And one of the most beautiful forms of this expression is music. I would like to take one last minute to thank everyone who has supported me throughout this process. My internal advisor, Victoria Van Schoen, for her constant positivity and confidence in me and my topic. My other internal advisor, Noah Gottfried, for his incredible knowledge of music and the ways in which he conveyed this to me. My external advisor, Buff Allen, for challenging me and always making me think. My music teacher and producer, Matt Maxwell, for his patience and encouragement of my songwriting, as well as my external advisor, Bronwyn Churcher, for her brilliant insight and constant reassurance. I would like to thank my class for their understanding and compassion, especially Liliana for running through a field of thistles while wearing no shoes, as well as my parents for all the sacrifices they've made so I was able to have this amazing experience. Lastly, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for attending my presentation and helping me to complete this last part of my journey that I have embarked on these past 10 months.
I am happy to report that Ms. Karina Jorgensen-Fullam has met the full requirements of the Masterworks program at Island Pacific School.